And good evening, everyone. How is it going? It's another episode of the Children of Primus's Frenzy Freestyle Sunday. It's November 20th, and we're going to steer away from the usual topics of Transformers, although we'll still be closely related within the realm of transforming robots, combiners, mech, as some friends used to call it earlier or many years ago. One topic that we will speak on is the passing of Jason David Frank, who played the Green Ranger and the White Ranger in the earlier series of the Power Rangers, which was a very popular show in the early 90s from what I remember.
Oh, hello.
Good evening.
Just gotta, just gotta change the audio up. It's coming through the wrong source. I can hear you though, so don't worry about that.
Okay, cool. Well, how are you doing? I can hear
Uh,
you.
I was frazzled because I just was scrambling to get set up.
Oh, no worries.
Power on. Get in there. Connect. There we go.
Cool.
All right. Audio's good. Oh,
So how have you been since last week?
it's been a heck of a busy weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were at the zoo today. It's
Interesting. I wouldn't have expected that in this weather.
Yeah, no. There's not a lot of people. The snow's gorgeous. Most of the stuff is still open.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like the animals that don't like the snow aren't out, but most of them are okay.
Yeah, the rest of them are like, nope. It's
Yeah,
this is winter. I'm hibernating.
yeah, yeah. No, straight up.
Hmm.
uh, the most like transformer specific thing that happened was like we went to an enclosure with a rhinoceros, and it was like it's and Jess was mentioning Beast Wars stuff because Rhinox.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, it's interesting how rhinos have interlocking plates of armor, just like the figure that I have does.
Interesting. I mean, automatically I was thinking of Ramhorn, but I
Yeah,
didn't know the figures also had also emulated the same characteristics as the animal.
yeah. They're the ones in Kingdom are like supposed to be accurate to the real thing as much as possible.
Oh, that's good.
hmm I feel like I need to.
Yes.
Well, it's in the wrong form here, but maybe I can switch them around and make the realistic rhino. But this is his other form
Got it.
with a whole rhino head on his back. Newell with this a little bit as we as we speak.
Yes. So, Jason Edwards from Facebook says, "Rest in peace, Mr. Frank."
Yeah. We heard the news while we were out at the zoo because Jess was checking her phone.
Okay, yeah, I just came across the news earlier today, and it's almost like one of those accidental items that you come across, and when I noticed it, I had to look it up. Hey,
hmm
Calvin,
Hello.
Yellow, yellow.
how's it going?
Right. It's not good, man. I know. I heard today
Hmm.
what happened. Not good.
Yeah, I, I was gonna say it's more of a significant thing for me because I'm exactly the right age to have grown up with that show. Uh,
I was thinking, I was possibly hoping that it would fall kind of on your shoulders within the topic with being in that age range.
oh yeah, like if you were, I was born in '88, so like I was a kid in the mid '90s, so like
Hmm.
it didn't necessarily follow me into adulthood, but yeah, it's a part of the cultural footprint that I grew up in.
Right.
Uh, what do I have over here? It's a more significant thing to Jess. She was a bigger Power Rangers fan. She always said Jason David Frank was her first crush.
Okay.
Um, and we met him at a convention a few years ago, Fan Expo. He was there. I saw him at a panel, and my friend Andrew, he was on the show once.
Hmm.
Went to go get a Super Nintendo cartridge signed by him, and Jess went with Andrew just for
Wow.
just to see. I was off selling things because I had a booth at Fan Expo that year.
Okay.
This is back when that was economically feasible.
I was
Um,
about to say yes.
yeah, and like he signed it, and even though they didn't pay for pictures, he was like, just come here, and they took a bunch of pictures with him, and Jess has it. So yeah, it was a good experience, positive interaction. I saw the panel he did with Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger. I'm like, that
Oh,
was my
okay.
experience with the guy. Yeah, seemed like
Cool.
at the time he was a bundle of energy.
Hmm.
Like he just moved a mile a minute. He was just talking, 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 talking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, seemed nice. Very enthusiastic person. Like the worst I can say is for somebody like me, it seems like he'd probably be exhausting to be around. But like, just how he
Well,
was, you know.
I mean, interesting enough where myself personally, I wasn't a Power Rangers fan because of myself being older, I more got into.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about my husband?
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you want
I.
my headphones?
Yeah, everyone shut the fuck up. I'm here.
Oh dear. We're having a just moment. I was gonna
They're
ask
taking
how is
these.
she
Yeah.
taking the news?
Big ass fucking head. Just a big guy.
Man. I don't know. It just seems like it's not real.
Hello.
I,
Hey, how's it going?
how's it going?
Awful.
Hey,
I heard that you were talking about my husband, the Green Ranger, so I had to come in.
That's right, Pat.
See, look at my boy. Okay, I just wanted to
Hold
say
up again.
that he was my first crush, Tommy Oliver. Like I loved him a lot, and I had the opportunity to meet him at Fan Expo a few years ago with my buddy Andrew, and we had to pay money to get like this Power Ranger game signs,
Hmm.
and like you'd have to pay like extra for photos and shit. And he was like, no, like come here, and took a selfie with us, and he was super nice and chill, and like it was already kind of like a rough day for me. And like the moment, like I just had a moment to like look at my phone and chill for a second is when I like found out that he passed. And like the first thing I did, like Anthony could tell you, like I literally yelled no while we were sitting there surrounded by like strangers.
Hmm.
And then I had to call my buddy Andrew and be like, did you hear about what's happened? Because I was just like in shock, and I knew that he cared just as much. And it's just, he's had such an impact on so many people, like not even people who are like major fans of Power Rangers or anything. Like I was literally talking about him the other day with my friend Haley because she watched the movie a lot. She's like, yo, that White Ranger? And I was like, yeah, he was the Green Ranger first, and I loved him forever and always. So it fucking sucks. Like,
I'm sorry about hearing about the news.
yeah, I know I come in and I like mess around and like hate on stuff a lot, but I just like I have a personal love for my boy Jason David Frank, so I just needed to come in and tell y'all that he was the best and I love him, and Pepperoni is just being a dickhead because that's what she does. But yeah, also this guy here, um, this was one of the first Christmas gifts Anthony ever gave me like 9 years ago.
is
Wow.
is that the wait? Because I have one here and it has a signed autograph. I got it off eBay,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what it was. Some dude was auctioning it off, and I ended up winning the auction sale. And I think that's the same Green Ranger that you have in your hands, if I'm
It
not mistaken.
it might be. I'm not sure.
What's the question?
Let's see.
Oh, that That's the American. I think it was called the Lightning Collection. That's
No, this
that's
no
the
no,
SH
this
Figure
is the
Arts. Is the
original.
Japanese
This
one that
this the
Jess
one
saw.
when it first came out. I got the Lightning Collection one too, but this
Oh,
is
it's the
signed.
thing that Bandai did before the Lightning Collection, back before
Yep.
Hasbro had the license, whatever it was called. Good
hmm
figure though.
It's,
So
I
that
also like once again I'm hijacking your stream, but I just wanted to mention because I was talking to Anthony about it earlier today, and this is another reason today kind of sucked was today is like Trans Remembrance Day, and
hmm
I'm a part of the group. I'm bisexual, and you probably heard there was a mass shooting at
yep.
a gay club last night in Colorado.
mm-hmm.
So, um, I just wanted to like say like between the shooting and then losing our guy, it just feels like a really sad day and a good time to remember like I'm a certified hater, but like don't be that hateful. Like don't be killing people, don't be like pushing people towards suicide. Like I feel like in the Transformers community and with the Power Rangers community, there's so much like gay love. Can I say that? Like there's a lot of people who are in I say the gay club because I have ADHD and I can't get the letters right when I try to say
LGBTQ?
I can't but half the time I can't get it right. Like there's so many people within that community that love Transformers, and I just want to say that if you are somebody out there who's a part of the crew, like I'm sorry that you're going through this day, because like it fucking sucks, and no one deserves to be shot down or treated that way just because you happen to like somebody of the same sex or intersex or anything like that. Like just being a part of the club doesn't mean that you get shot down.
Mm-hmm. No, that is true.
So I'm sorry that everyone's having kind of a sad day, but I hope that everyone has some fun on the stream regardless and talks about how much we love our boy and how much he shaped us. Pepperoni's gotten all comfy on my shoulder, so I'm going to walk off with her. Yeah. And now you can have your headphones back for your giant head.
I just wish that people would just stop putting labels on each other and start coming together, because the biggest enemy is the government. That's the one that's dividing the people and throwing stuff out, like, because hate comes from people who don't understand, and they don't understand another person plight, or they don't understand another person's feelings. They don't know what the next person's going through. And I say, as people, we have lost the connection of saying, hey, how you doing? Are you doing all right? Are you going through something? Talk about it. We have lost that connection due to politics and outside influences.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like, everyone just wants the same thing, like love and comfort and like a sense of understanding in this world. And I think if like people just tried to not be fucking assholes, we'd probably get that. But I feel like so often we are so quick to judge and jump to anger instead of understanding. And that's a big problem that we have.
It is a huge problem.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave, but y'all enjoy yourself. I'll stop being so preachy, and you guys can talk about your regular stuff.
Oh,
It's cool. Thank you for dropping in, though.
Yeah. Y'all be good.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Now, see, whenever Jess takes my headphones, I can't actually hear the stream, so I'm going to assume everybody was as eloquent as possible.
Yes, everyone was playing nicely today.
That's good. That's good.
So let me quickly catch up on some comments. Wesley Allen from Facebook said, "What a sad day for Rangers fans, adults and children. I'm sad for the family, Jason. I'm sad for the family. For the family, Jason was an inspiration to millions. I got a chance to know 3 of his children. We are heartbroken for his family. There is no words that can express what his character has done for 29 29 years. In his words, it's morphing time. Rest in peace, JDF. You will be missed.
I,
And
I will say, oh no, go
oh,
ahead, go ahead.
and
Yeah, that's all
Jason
very true.
and Jason Edwards from Facebook also said that it was the same figure that you guys were speaking on earlier.
Yeah. I was going to say, I wanted to show off the one thing I had. They reissued a few years ago some of the vintage 90s figures. Like, this isn't the original. This is a re-release they did.
Oh,
Okay.
yep,
Um,
yep.
yeah. And the gimmick is you press the button and the head morphs.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And you plug the armor in. Like, it's an old 90s toy, so it's like, it's decently posable for its time, but just kind of a neat little retro thing.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I might not be like, it's Power Rangers isn't super my thing, but I still picked this up when they re-released it because I had the same one when I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it does have a place in my cultural language. Yeah. I will say I haven't seen the show in a long time, but if you want a fun slice of 90s cheese, I do recommend the original 90s movie. He's in it. He was the White Ranger by that point. It's a nice little standalone thing if you want to see what it's all about.
You talking about Power Rangers the movie?
Yeah, the 90s one, the first one.
I have that figure, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, which one? The head switcher? Oh, yeah. This is a ninja outfit from the movie. In the movie, they get like ninja outfits for part of it, so that's like that. That's what his like ninja outfit from the movie.
Cool.
It was silly. It was 90s. It's really fun, but it's very silly.
Man, I thought it was dope. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I grew up around that era too. And that show came out in 1993.
Yeah.
That movie is fucking baller, and it has freaking Red Hot Chili Peppers covering oh my god,
nice.
Higher Ground.
Yeah, Higher Ground.
Yeah.
And it's dope. And then Johnny Young Bosch is in it, and he's all like, I'm a frog. And I'm like, frogs are awesome, Johnny Young Bosch.
You talking about this one right here?
And all the flips and shit.
Yeah, that one.
That movie's great.
Yeah.
Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, just had to come by to say that that movie opens with a Red Hot Chili Peppers covering Higher Ground by Stevie Wonder. It's a very strange way to open the film, but a cool one.
That is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit. It's not as traumatic as the Transformers movie, but it kind of has a similar vibe in that the show was already on the air. It's a spin-off of the show. They suffer a big loss. They lose their powers, and they have to get them back, and they get ninja outfits along the way.
Okay.
They have a movie-exclusive bad guy. He's Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze, yep.
Yeah. So it's sort of Transformers the movie-esque in how it relates to the show, and how, just like the movie, you can kind of sort of just watch it on its own, even though it's related to it.
Okay.
And it has a soundtrack of like contemporary musical hits too, so it's another thing they share in common.
Nice. Well, the one thing I was going to mention earlier, just because of myself being older, I was already, I think, an early adult when Power Rangers came out, so I never got into it. But I mean, I did watch a few episodes, and I know who the characters were and everything, and only in recent years, like, being more within all the Facebook groups and everything, on our fan page, we actually follow Jason's fan page. So I've seen all of his updates where he, meets like different fans from over the years, still teaches martial arts and everything. And, I slowly started having more appreciation of him and the Power Rangers in general, where, a lot of times I would make fun of like Power Rangers saying, well, they're just kind of a knockoff of Voltron. But you look back at it and it's like, well, here's someone who did the live action TV series, did the movies, and we're speaking of like 30 years of fans that are following him, and he's embraced that, which is the one cool element of of some actors, where it's either an actor's done a show and they're like, well, I'm just tired of it and I don't care anymore. But like he embraced that, of not just being the martial artist, but of being the Green Ranger. Whereas like, an actor is almost in a sense is born for a part, and like that was his part.
Yeah, out of everybody who was on that show, he's the most active in like the fan community, and also he had the longest career on the show because he kept coming back. Pretty
Oh,
much whenever
okay.
they do an anniversary episode, he'd come back and the character would come back and be a ranger for a crossover.
Nice. That's
He
cool.
was just Yeah, he was just on a couple years ago. Around the time there was the new movie, which he had a little cameo in, but he was on the show for like a anniversary thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched a clip of the whole sequence. He like because he's been on the show so long, he has a bunch of different ranger forms, like not just the Green Ranger and the White Ranger. He's been a lot of different colors.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that. Where it
Yeah,
looks like he's been three or four different versions of Rangers.
yeah, I think five total because he was the Green Ranger, then he
Hmm.
was the White Ranger, then he was the Red Zeo Ranger with the star on his face. Yeah,
Hmm.
that one.
Ah, okay.
Then he was the first Red Turbo Ranger. I was still
Yep.
watching the show back in the day, so that's how I know this.
Okay.
Um, and then he, like in grand superhero tradition, passed the powers on to somebody else who took up the mantle like halfway through that season,
TJ.
and that was TJ. That's when he originally left the show, and then he was gone for a while, and he showed up like another point as the Zeo Ranger again, and then there was a later season of the show, Dino Thunder, where he came back as a mentor character and became the Black Dino Ranger during the show. So he joined the
Nice.
team again.
That's cool.
Yeah, and since then he's popped up, and whenever they do a crossover, picking one thing or another.
Hmm.
And the last crossover he was on, like I said, I saw the clip from it. They did this gimmick where he had to fight a duplicate of himself. So fancy camera tricks to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he has this thing called a master morpher, so it lets him quick change between all his ranger forms. So he does a bunch of flashy form changes.
that's cool. That
Yeah, it
sounds
was
cool.
yeah, it was really cool.
And I mean, exactly as you were saying before, it's like when they came out, like in a sense, your generation were younger kids, and
Yeah,
and I was working with children in my later high school years, and I remember the popularity of Power Rangers was to the point that sometimes schools and daycares were not allowing children to emulate or do anything Power Rangers related because like every child
Yep.
was just like like
yeah.
just ninja
I
moves
mean,
like in the class.
it's funny because like I'm like, yeah, no, they're like, oh, you shouldn't be trying to censor this stuff, but also. I was a kid at this point. We were all getting into fights at recess because of that show. So
Yep,
that is
yep.
100% true. You know?
So it's a it's interesting full circle where it's like now I'm speaking with you and it's like you were one of those kids like every kid was just have just being a Power Ranger and having fun.
Yeah. That's what we did. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's what, man. I said to myself, "Ooh, we that show came out. They advertised on Fox. It was on Fox TV,
Hmm.
Mhm.
Fox Kid. My brother was like, man, you should see this. This coming out. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Was like, what? Never heard of that. And when they showed the commercial, it just took off from there. It went hard. It went hard. But that Sentai series been around for so many years.
Yeah.
And when it finally got adapted, that's when they got the Mighty Morphin. But the history of that show, it was two brothers.
Okay.
And Dragonzord was called Caesar.
Yeah. Dragon Caesar.
And these Zords, they was alive. They had feelings. I'm just like, whoa, like, okay, that's deep. Because I was watching the Sentai series versus the American one.
Yeah. I
Okay.
always thought it was funny how the American story was the Green Ranger was mind controlled and then he turned good, and then in the Sentai it was just no, he was just straight up evil of his own volition. They just convinced him to be good. Yeah,
He was like there for like over 10,000 years or something. Like they was living
yeah,
longer than that or something, and he woke up out of a sleep or something.
yeah. So, Spin, as somebody that's not super familiar with Power Rangers, do you
Hmm.
know that it's an adaptation of a Japanese show?
That I wasn't aware of, but I'm
Yeah.
not surprised. Because within speaking of Power Rangers, I did want to touch upon the influences
Hmm.
leading up to Power Rangers. Whereas, like for my generation, we watched Voltron between the
Yeah.
five lines and the combining cars, and Power Rangers is basically a live version of the five line Voltron. But within that time, there's so many variations of combining type robots and
Hmm.
series that all branched out from I would say like the late 80s, almost actually early 80s. Since Transformers were the mid to late 80s, all of these
Hmm.
cartoons and concepts were from the late 70s to early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and they definitely share some DNA because the thing that Power Rangers is adapted from, Super Sentai, that's existed since the 1970s, but just in Japan.
Okay,
Yeah. So but it didn't initially have combining robots. I know that for sure. Like that was additional little ways into it.
okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go back and do your history, that Sentai series is older than Voltron. Actually,
Yeah, I think so. I didn't want to declare that, but like yeah, because with Voltron actually made in the 80s, like the anime.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, so yeah, I thought Sentai predated it, but like wasn't totally sure.
I mean, I'm not surprised with that either, because when you look at the early Transformers toys and the Diaclone figures, having date stamps of like early late 70s, like you really think back to it, and it's like a lot of the concepts that helped build a lot of the concepts that originated that led up to the years of Power Rangers. We could even say this is from the late 60s for
Hmm.
them to then start designing like these toys in the 70s that then became popular in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. Whenever Mazinger Z started in Japan, I think that might have even been the '60s. That was like the first thing to have like combining robots as a big gimmick. And
Mm-hmm.
that was an anime. Yeah. But yeah, so Power Rangers, Super Sentais going in Japan since the '70s, and same basic shtick, right? People change into superhero suits to fight rubber suit monsters, and then they call in their big robots. Power Rangers would take seasons of it, and it would be partially a dub and partially a reshoot because they would take like the footage of these guys that was in Japan and they would dub it over into English.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
then for all the stuff when they're out of suit, they'd bring in the American actors and refilm it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then but the American side of the things had access to the suits and costumes and props and everything, so they would film new stuff too. So like one of the things about Jason David Frank was he was famous for doing all of his own stunts while he was playing the character.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
which some of the time it was him dubbing over the footage from the Sentai show, but as the series went on and became more popular and had more budget, they started doing their more of their own stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, but and like Calvin was alluding to, one of the interesting things was the American adaptation very frequently actually changes the story a lot when they like dub and refilm it. So you'd see like stuff from the original repurposed into completely different story contexts.
Interesting.
Yeah, like the Green Ranger. He cut the one of the reasons that he was like really popular at the time was because he was a big change in the status quo of the show because it was the five kids fighting the monsters, and
Okay.
then all of a sudden, like halfway through the first season, this guy just comes out of nowhere and starts being able to beat them all because he's so strong. And like the thing is, he's being mind controlled by the villains, right?
Okay.
Whereas in the original series they were adapting it from, he was just a bad guy, and they had to convince him to join them.
Well,
There's a
as
lot of
as
other
you
differences, but yeah, go ahead.
well, I was going to say as you explained that, because again, I didn't get deep enough into Power Rangers, but realizing that that's a classic Hollywood formula that I've seen play out in many types of shows where,
Yeah,
you start off with your good guy and bad guy characters, but then there's this one bad guy that basically can defeat all the good characters, and then later on in either the same season or the following season, the bad guy now teams up with the good team. And then in a
yeah,
sense, now there's a badder character that appears.
yeah. That is exactly how it went with him. But the thing about it is like he there was no question of whether he was good or not because they instantly broke the mind control, and he's like, all these things that I did, and they're like, don't worry about it, just come join us, and then he's the new Maverick character that everybody likes because he
Yep.
already proved he could beat all the good guys if he wanted to, and now he's working with them. So I
Hmm.
think when you're a kid, that was the secret to his like initial popularity as a kid.
Oh, for as children, like that plot just that like we just love that plot.
Yeah. Plus, he piloted a giant mech that looked exactly like Mechagodzilla, so that always helps.
Yep.
So, Toy Warp Vintage Reviews from YouTube says, "Yeah, I heard about this today," and is that yeah, like a lot of people are shocked and surprised about hearing the news,
Hmm.
especially the fact that if you follow him in any form of social media, he's always out there embracing his fans and just friendly with everyone.
Yep.
He had a movie coming out. I don't know what the status of it is now. It was called Legend of the White Dragon.
Wow.
And it was like a Power Rangers alike, but like mature. But it was like an
Okay.
indie movie. I just remember because he was plugging it like really hard, as you would expect.
I mean, hopefully that's hopefully there was enough footage or information that will come out about it.
Yeah, like I'll be honest, like I don't follow this type of stuff, so I don't know what state of completion it was in. Just that he was
R-
doing promo for it. So
right.
I mean, that'd be. I hope it comes out just because of this now specifically.
This is true. So, Tour Vintage Reviews on YouTube asked, "You know what happened? He was only 49."
Yeah,
So
I'm
the
not super
news,
familiar. Yeah, if you know,
the
go ahead.
yeah, the news that's only been mentioned so far is that it's possibly a suicide. Um,
Yeah,
and I mean, it's again, we can only go with whatever news is out there until there's a form of confirmation.
yeah,
Um, but him being only 49, which I didn't realize that was I'm also 49, and him embracing that character, always showing love for his fans. A lot of times you don't know you don't know what's happening on the other side of that person, where
hmm
it's like publicly is like like he's exceptional, but you honestly don't know.
yeah. Like I was gonna say, like I don't like to speculate because I at least for where I am, I don't know for sure, but
Yeah,
just
like that's only what the news and social media, or I don't think it's been official on the news, but that's what a lot of people have been saying, or and people that are close to him as well.
mhm.
Man, that sucks, man. Those are things that we don't actually talk about as people, especially as men, that the suicide rate is very high among us. And it's just not being talked about.
Yeah,
This is true. This is very true.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where like you don't know what a person goes through. So
Yeah, and I mean, especially in the last few years, there's just a lot that there's just been a lot happening globally. Because I
hmm
mean, say for instance, even within our collective and for him, where it's like, in order for him to embrace the fans, he has to be out there. And then now you've got an event where, nobody's allowed to connect with anybody in person. That can take a toll on anyone.
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, again, you never know. Like one of my favorite groups that I grew up with, Crowded House. their original drummer had to, and the same thing happened to their original drummer, and out of the musicians, he was the comedian, the joker, all like any stage shows, just they're always being the goofy guy. So it's like you didn't expect that of him.
Right.
Mhm.
I did not know
Yes.
that.
Yeah, this I believe it was like around mid '90s, and especially around after they gained a huge popularity within Canada and the United States. After leaving New Zealand, they did like a bunch of albums, a number of shows, and at one point they decided, well, we're just gonna kind of quit the band and retire. And and I know from a musician's standpoint, if you kind of, in a sense, if you retire your job, you get in that point of like, well, I don't have anything to do now, and that
Yeah.
might have set on him, and it's unfortunate because they they've still been performing. They were actually even supposed to be here in Canada in September, but they have to reschedule to May. So they've been
Damn,
performing for 40 years, but he wouldn't have known that now.
Mm.
man. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, conventions had started up again, sort of, but like for somebody like him who probably makes a big chunk of his living from going to conventions and things, that must have been something kind of a challenge.
But I mean, it's like I had no idea how much people looked up to him, and it's just now kind of putting it all together. Is like I see that, um, just the phenomenon that Power Rangers was,
Yeah.
and and the fact he continued to be that person to connect with the fans, like it's huge.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like you said, the person from that band was the comedian. This guy, like I said, my experiences with him were just like this sort of well of enthusiasm and energy.
Yeah, and then, like from everything that I've seen online, everyone had like says the same thing. Like I've not seen anyone say anything bad. And like nobody's ever had mention ever a bad experience, after
Yeah,
meeting him.
yeah, 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 and yeah, like just a big deal from my childhood. The I always loathed Power Rangers, but I do recall Jason doing a lot for the community around it. Says Toy Warp. Yeah, that's basically it. Guy guy was the sort of the face of the sort of like the fandom ambassador. Yeah, and it's sort of a mutual relation because, like I said, the character that he played, Tommy Oliver, is I think the one person who's appeared the most throughout like the Power Rangers show, right? Like
Okay.
he was supposed to the Green Ranger was supposed to be retired and he was supposed to leave the show, right? And he came back and then he got upgraded into the White Ranger and became the leader of the team. Um, and continued to play a role in so many more seasons because the character was popular with the fans. So it was like a reciprocal thing, right? Like he had this long career, well past how long the character was actually supposed to last, that existed just because the viewers liked him.
Well, it's William Shatner from the original Star Trek.
Yeah,
The reason his career is still going is because exactly that, because of the fans. And at a certain point in time, um, he was one of the people where he was kind of tired of being known as Captain Kirk and didn't want to deal with any fans and anything, and it clicked into him that his career, the longevity of his career exists because of the fans.
hmm
And from that he started embracing his fans again, and I mean that brought him back in many other productions later on, still playing Captain Kirk.
yeah, yeah. It makes me think of Leonard Nimoy publishing a book called I Am Not Spock, and then later publishing another book called I Am Spock after he changed his opinion on the character. Yeah.
You know, and then, I mean, and the one thing I was thinking too, it's like, even if we're not a fan of, or no, I wouldn't say we, even if someone isn't a fan of Power Rangers,
Yeah.
but they're still a fan within the sci-fi world of Transformers, Star Trek, comic books. There's always that connection where it's like, say, for instance, Transformers and Leonard Nimoy, where a
Hmm.
lot of us prefer the Galvatron, the Leonard Nimoy's Galvatron over Frank. But then we prefer Frank as being Megatron. But
Yeah.
it's like, we know those crossovers and those characters, and we just identify with them. Like, that character is to this actor, like, to that voice actor. Which, funny enough, there's the opening of one of the, I believe, the FIFA soccer, and Morgan Freeman was doing the introduction today. And listening to his voice, I'm like, you know what? I think he could also take over for the role of Optimus Prime if
Yeah.
Peter were to retire. Like, he really has the voice for it.
Oof, that would be great.
Yeah,
This guy, like, I don't think anybody's gonna take over the character. Like, I think they're just gonna quietly retire him.
they have to. They just
Yeah.
did exactly what they did for
Primus.
Chadwick and Black Ranger.
Yeah.
Sorry, for Black
Black
Panther.
Panther. Yeah.
They have to retire. They have to retire the Green Ranger for Jason.
Yeah. So another one of the original cast, I forget the actress's name. She played the original Yellow Ranger.
I
Trini.
remember her.
Yeah, yeah. Trini's the name of the character. I just forget the actress's name at the moment. Um, she passed away many years ago in an accident, right?
Hmm.
Yep.
Um, and so, like, yeah, they just retired the character that she never appeared in anything, but and I know they're doing a new crossover event where they had somebody playing her daughter now.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, which I haven't seen it, but I believe the implication is that even if the actress is not alive, the character is. She's just not around and is survived by her daughter.
Okay.
So if they retire the Green Ranger, then because the comic book states that there's another interest for the Green Ranger in the comic books. I don't know if y'all guys read them or not.
Yeah,
Boom Studios.
yeah. Doesn't he have a kid in those, like in that one-off
Yep.
graphic novel? Yeah,
Yeah, but that's another dude that has the Green Ranger powers.
yeah. So, like, if they ever wanted to continue the character, they could introduce the. That's what I was getting at. Like, introduce his the character's son into the TV show since he already exists in the comics. Yeah, they have
Right.
comics now. Not back in the day, but now Boom Studios does them. I read the first few volumes. Actually, they're pretty good,
Nice.
and they focus a lot on the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, again because he was the popular one. So
Well, what's their take on the other Rangers? Because then I know, and it's like, only briefly seeing things on the news where some of them, had personal troubles and issues over the years. Do they still just, I guess, disassociate that with the characters in the comic books? Um,
no, not
Sorry,
really.
go ahead. Okay.
Um, No, because the comics are like stories that happened when they were teenagers still, so it's not, except for the occasional like alternate timeline stuff
Yep.
and like
Okay.
future stories, which is how we know he has a kid. Like it's
Okay.
not a straight continuation of the show.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the one of the most influential things the comics recently did, actually another Green Ranger related thing. They introduced an alternate universe version of him called Lord Dracon, where he'd stay evil.
Oh, interesting. And
Yeah,
what's
there he is. Calvin has the action figure. Yeah, he was so popular they made an action figure of him, and in a line that usually just does TV show stuff. And there was a they Jason David Frank shot like a live action promo for the comic where he played the character briefly.
nice?
Yeah, it was it was really interesting. So like that's how well liked that was. It got action figures, and it got he got to play him briefly in live action. So
That's cool. That is very cool.
yeah, nobody else is that's how involved he is. No, I mean, like the other actors will sometimes show up for crossover stuff. Like a couple years back, the guy, the actor that played the Red Ranger came back for an episode of Beast Morphers. Yeah.
Okay.
Jason David Frank is the guy that keeps showing up for all these like special things. you know, like the other guys showing up are rare. Pretty much, it seems like if they call him, they're like, "We want to do a thing." He was always like, "All right, let's film it. Let's."
Well, there's one other ranger, whereas like I think in recent years, he has kind of popped up here and there, and I believe it may have been him that had put out the post earlier today that actually I even like noticed about the news. Um, I'm gonna see if I can recall which ranger that was, though.
You talking about Billy?
Yeah, I mean he's pretty well
Possibly.
liked. David Yost is the a guy that played the original Blue Ranger.
Okay, so I because he was the one with the glasses, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can find an image. The Black Ranger.
Oh, you
Oh,
talking about that?
that's the
Walter.
first one or second one because there was two of them.
Oh, okay. I guess
They did the superhero thing. So people would inherit the title sometimes.
well, from the earlier cast that I recall, he was the Black Ranger because this is
Yeah,
all the original members. Let's see
yeah,
if I can
exactly.
pull up the right. Let's see, pull up the image.
Uh, yeah, that's the original group before any of them like passed the titles along.
Yes, Zach was the Black Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen him pop up here and there, and I think at one point there were pictures of him and 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 sorry, and David together.
hmm Yeah. Walter Jones is the actor's name.
Okay,
Yeah. So that's the if that's the page that makes it official, that makes sense. Yeah. So I think at this point we've now mentioned basically everybody in this original lineup.
yes,
Yeah. And that, like I said, it was originally just five of them. Like Tommy Oliver, like came in like halfway through the first season.
okay. But yeah, like these are like the originals that I remember, and I remember when Jason came in, and it was like the Power Rangers versus you know, like this other Ranger. So it's just like, but I don't remember if the children were probably emulating that, which I bet they were. But I do recall that, but it's just I didn't realize he just kept going through like all the different iterations of the franchise.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was there for a while,
Okay,
and like the cast would rotate in and out. So like multiple other people inherited the titles, or they got different powers, or new members joined the team. But he was a very consistent member of the show for quite a long period of time.
cool.
And like I said, he kept coming back to do special things and crossovers and anniversary stuff and whatever.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he kept the show going, man. That's one thing I can say about him. He kept it going. Yep.
So actually, the one character you were speaking of earlier.
Oh, Mazinger, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. It's very early influential mecha show in Japan.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like there was like dozens of similar characters. And I mean like years later, that's where we get the Power Rangers from.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And yeah, I always they had a really good ecosystem of combining mechs and Power Rangers.
Well, let's see if I can find another one because there was one that I used to really like when I was a child. Let's see, Star Poseidon. And I think actually in recent years they actually started making figures of this series.
What was it?
Let's see, Star Avengers. That's it.
Star Avengers. Doesn't sound familiar to me, honestly.
But I know we mentioned it on the show a few times, like many months ago. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Oh,
Yep.
I don't
remember
know
those.
these guys.
Yeah, so I remember watching Star Avengers. I think that might have been like around 1981, 82.
Mhm.
And at the time, like this is like earlier forms of combiners. So again, before Transformers came out, before Puzzler came out, and and before like we even when Voltron was out, we never used the word combiners. But basically, within the three robots, the middle one was Star Dragon, the one on the right is Star Poseidon, and the one on the left is Star Ariel. And between their three powers, I believe the middle one was just a straight robot. The one on the right, his powers were from the water, and the one on the left, his powers were of the air. But essentially, like it's the image is kind of misleading because you can't have all three of them together. They're actually comprised of three planes,
Yeah.
and within the three planes, I believe it's a red, blue, and an orange plane. So in one form, when the three planes combine, you have the middle robot. The three planes would then separate and change their configuration to then combine as the robot on the right, and then separate again and change their configuration to form the robot on the left.
Interesting. I God, I wonder if they like made like a Soul of Chogokin of this or something. That's the series of mech toys that come out of Japan that are like $1 billion and like super high end and multi-franchise. And I know they've done Power Ranger stuff or Super Sentai stuff.
No, it's possible.
Did you say his name was Starvenger?
Star Avengers. Um, Now, wondering if maybe I could possibly find a YouTube clip and try to play a bit of it, which I was gonna say, trying to do the Transformers episode last week. Paramount came after us on that.
Yeah, it's like Friday the 13th episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, like I said, I said this in chat, but I want to say, having actually watched the rest of Earthspark, um, really good beginning. Last three episodes, 8 to 10, are really good. The middle is rough.
Wow.
Yeah, but I want to say it's worth getting to the end because the last three episodes are actually really, really good. Apparently, they have some fairly well-regarded action choreography animators on the show, and it shows because like when the big battles happen towards the end, they're like really visually stunning, and all the choreography of the fights is like really solid. But like you saw that in the first couple episodes too. They just really go off.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would say I'm impressed with the fight sequences, and especially with Alita one using the wheels on her feet to just kind of swing around, within the fight.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's hard to be like I don't know if I'm gonna have to give the show time because I'm like they're gonna release it in small drops of a few episodes, and I'm like I hope they're not all like this. That like middle stretch that was like really hard to watch because I'm like it was worth making it to the end because the last three are like real good.
Okay, that's
But,
how many episodes is it all together?
10.
10. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, eventually I'll try to watch all 10, but
Yeah.
like I know I'm gonna have to sit through that middle
Stretch.
set of fillers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to like like I don't have the time to watch it again, but I want to write down and be like, could you hypothetically skip some of these middle ones? You might be able to.
You know what? There are many shows like that where it's like,
Yeah,
those filler episodes, like you could have canceled them and it wouldn't have affected the series in
yeah.
any way.
I think there might be some like because to their credit, like the reason I don't like those middle episodes is they're just like the kids on the farm learning lessons with their robots, you know, uh, real low stakes, real aimed at kids stuff, right? But I think they do fit in some world building while it's happening. Like we
Oh,
learn a
okay.
little bit more about Ghost. We see some stuff to do with them.
Okay.
Uh, we learn a bit more about characters' backstories, and I'm like, I might be important, but I wish that it had been packaged and delivered to us in a way that wasn't in these episodes.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah, but the last three are like real good. Soundwave shows up. Skywarp shows up.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta let these spoilers through because that's the only way to get people to watch them. Like,
So it gives are like old school, like Skywarp and what's his name? Or they just different, like different
oh, they're like
personalities?
new, they're new takes on them.
Oh, gotcha.
Um, Soundwave, uh, sort of reminiscent of his Transformers Prime version, mixed in with his G1 self. Uh,
Nice.
we get to see Skywarp. Skywarp's a girl now, but we get to see her use the teleportation that power in some really interesting ways that are really fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, station gracious.
yeah. They do some fun stuff with the teleportation business.
Yeah, funny enough, I only recall Skywarp using it once, if maybe twice, in the G1 series.
Oh, it shows up a lot more in this.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
You ever seen somebody use teleportation during a one-on-one fight to do fancy things?
Nope.
I would say the only time I could think of that, and it was actually I think some people said that was like the best part of the whole movie was one of the X-Men movies.
Yeah,
I think it
Nightcrawler.
was Nightcrawler. Yeah, like
Yeah,
his
that's a good
sequence
point of
was amazing.
that is a good point of comparison between Skywarp on Earthspark and what she does with the stuff. So
Nice. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so I'm like, if you can make it to the last three are worth making it to.
Okay. So Shiba on Facebook has mentioned that Green Ranger was my age,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, it's at my age as well. So it is unfortunate news, and it does hit a bit harder when it's like the person is the same age as you. You know, you
Yeah,
kind of get a little bit worried there.
yeah. Um, I mean, I hadn't. I mean, it seemed like he was in great shape for his age too. Like
Right.
Oh
because
yeah.
he'd always preserved fairly well, and he obviously took care of himself because he was a martial artist. So
Yep. Yep. Shiba also mentions, man, in my humble opinion, Starscream in Earthspark is either a ghost possessing Soundwave or is a shapeshifter pretending to be Soundwave.
uh, I cannot speak to that. I don't. Yeah. She also says Skywarp used it several times in G1, More Than Meets the Eye Part 1, Divide and Conquer, the Autobot run.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they remembered all that when they wrote Earthspark, so
That's cool. And then, I mean, that's, going back. Going back and like rewatching the G1 series and
Mhm.
then just kind of fiddling through the comic books, which you fortunately had a chance to go through.
Oh yeah.
Th- then you realize the cartoon missed out a lot of things. Or sorry, actually, even going like when we do our tech specs episodes, you realize the cartoon missed out a lot of the features that were written in 40s characters of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
different abilities and stuff just somehow didn't cross over into the cartoon.
Yeah. And it's funny. I guess it would be hard to write episodes with all that stuff, but the cartoon would have been where we could have seen these things because
Hmm.
like the comics going through them, like when you put out one issue a month and 12 of them a year and Transformers keeps going and going, It's less character driven and more event driven because they have to just get through this massive amount of characters.
Right.
So, you can understand why Bob Budiansky writing the bios, he wouldn't be able to fit them in the actual comic because there just wasn't space. But, like, the show, there's a lot more of it and it has time to cover stuff. So I guess I'm always like, I wish it'd shown some of the stuff from those bios a little bit more, but.
No, I
So,
agree.
yeah. It's always nice when modern stuff remembers.
So, actually, I'm gonna turn the sound off just to be safe. But for Force 5, this is the intro for the cartoon.
Oh, that is some vintage anime.
Oh yeah, yep.
Speed racer looking.
Oh, that's dope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Toe Animations. Oh, snaps.
Toei does like everything.
Yeah, so there's the one form, so that's Star Dragon.
Oh, Go Nagai, eh? He was like the guy. He did like so much stuff.
Whoa.
The author.
And of course, like they also fight their versions of Robeasts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Star Ariel. And that's Star Poseidon.
Oh, nice. I like his mask and his eyes are so of that time period and art style.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Now how much? Oh, and I'm like, no, I guarantee you, nobody remembers the people. They just remember the robots. Just the people crammed in the corner there.
Yeah, I don't remember the character names either.
Shiva says, "Man, that almost looks like Battle of the Planets." Well, same time period, eh?
Yep.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when you look at Battle of the Planets, all the Voltrons, all the Force Fives, like it's almost all the same animation until you hit the era of Robotech. Then it's like now we've got a slight upgrade on on everything.
Yeah, every decade has its own anime style. That was the '70s look. There's very much an '80s look and a '90s look. Probably a 2000s look, a 2010s look. It all kind of blends together at that point to me. But I'm like, I can tell looking at it, like, oh, this is from the '70s, this is from the '80s, this is from the '90s.
Yep.
And that is '70s as hell. I got Rhinox converted, by the way. I was noodling around this whole time.
Nice.
Like I said, it's such a weird observation for me to make. But I'm like, hey, I just saw an actual Rhinox there, and I'm like, they had this gap and this gap here, and I'm like, oh, they're actually built like that. That's not the figure. they just look like that, which I knew, but I'd forgotten until I saw one in person. I was like, oh, they do have the interlocking things.
Wow.
It's like the equivalent of recognizing Transformers alternate modes when you're on the road.
Yes. Actually, there's one weird instance. I was in one part of the city, and along the street there was a series of parked cars, which I have the video for, which I haven't thrown up yet. But I think it was like about 4 or 5 of them. They were all like Autobot vehicles. And I'm like, that's a rare case. Whereas like one of them, I think, looked like Trailbreaker. Another one was Hoist. Another one was Ironhide, and I think 2 others. I'm like, that was weird. And I actually had to walk back up the sidewalk and like kind of slowly walk down and record it. I'm like, what's that's something I don't think I'd ever run into again.
Maybe there was a convention nearby. Yeah, the Bumblebee Camaro is a popular car that I see frequently all over the place.
Oh, every day.
I'm not enough of a car person that. I mean, I can recognize a Bumblebee Camaro even without the specific paint job, but every movie he was whatever that year's model is, I couldn't tell you which movie each is from because they look a little bit too similar to me.
Right. Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Like they always wanted to advertise the new ones. So each live action film, whenever he's a concept Camaro, he's whatever that year's one is. So that's why it's a little different each time. Especially the first three, I'm like, I couldn't tell you at a glance.
Yeah, I mean, for even for myself, I'm like they're all Camaros. Just in terms of specifics, couldn't tell you.
Yay!
Oh, I was just talking about this. I'm like, I don't follow the Earthspark toy line, but I'm like, I guess they are. Here's the regular deluxes.
I haven't seen those up here yet.
Yeah, I I like how the package is like the same sort of shape as Generation stuff, but it has its own special color scheme.
Wish they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
put plastic over the front of it.
hmm yeah, yeah. I You don't want to like be that guy, but I'm like I've seen enough reports of figures getting their heads ripped out that I'm like they
Hmm.
should just if they don't want to put plastic over it, they should just do the closed box like Marvel Legends and stuff do. Like I like being able to see the guy, but
Yeah, there's a lot of like crazy instances of like parts missing from the characters. I'm like, but it's an open box.
yeah,
it's unfortunate.
yeah. Oh, and the thing I like about these is they're making Mandroid the Build a Figure.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I can see it there. They did these in Cyberverse as well. When they did their deluxes, there was a build a figure of Mac Adam, the bartender who turned out to be one of the 13. I have his leg because the hot rod that I got came with it. Yeah, so they're making Mandroid the build a figure here, which is a little bit appropriate considering his whole shtick on the show.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'll immediately be into these guys. I need to watch the show more, but I this is the Megatron where I'm like, what is going on with this guy? He freaks me out.
Damn.
Let's go to Maj's community news of Prime versus Prime uploaded a
Yeah,
video review for Legacy Evolution Needle Nose.
yeah. This is that guy. We've talked about him before, who somehow gets everything in advance because I guess he has a connection.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like mad at him about it, and I was like, come on, just if somebody's putting these up for sale and he's buying them, whatever. So yeah, that's we're getting a look at Needle Nose. Let me tell you the funny story about Needle Nose in Transformers in the modern era. They
Mm-hmm.
tried to make him like 2, 3 times because he was on different fan polls,
Okay.
and the various ones they did, and he kept losing. Uh,
Wow.
at least twice. He was going to be what the Siege one, which was classic showdowns. Impactor and Mirage wound up winning. That's why they got Siege figures. But
Okay.
Needle Nose and Trax were going to be were one of the options. They eventually did make Trax anyway. And then
Mm-hmm.
the Earthrise one, which was the last time they did one, sadly, was which one of these people stowed away on the Ark, and Needle Nose was an option again. He lost again.
Wow.
Run Amok won, so that's why there's a
Wow.
and they
Wow.
made Runabout because you can't have one without the other. So now they're
Right.
finally just making a Needle Nose, and so it's a little bit funnier. He's like, screw you guys, we're making one anyway. This is attempt
Yeah.
number 3.
Like finally, because I mean, those handful of characters just never got love, even from the G1 days, and that's unfortunate because they were good characters.
Yeah, this guy looks pretty complete from what I've seen. He's got like you can't see it there because it's just his route one, but he's a double target master and he comes with both of them. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a
Why?
pretty.
Why can you to be a target master?
I don't know, that's what the original was. So they threw both of them in there.
Yeah, because there's the handful of target masters that were really cool in terms of the concept and the toys, but they
Yeah,
just had like zero, recognition in the cartoon. But they actually had their own issue in the comic book. So
yeah.
again, the comics did a better job for the head power and target masters. The cartoon just touched on the headmasters and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And barely the target masters.
Yeah, and this guy, he's later on because the double target masters were '88, so like a full year after the show was done. And this guy barely even made it into the comics because they were already so full of people. Um, he did get to do some stuff in IDW, uh, where it established that he was related to Trax because they kind of have similar heads.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all he's known for. So he is very much an obscure guy. I tell you the other thing people are kind of annoyed about. He gets to have both his target masters. He comes with them.
Okay.
Point Blank gets to have his target master.
Hmm.
They're making a bunch of Armada guys, Hotshot and Starscream. They don't get to come with their mini cons.
Man,
People are like,
Oh.
yeah, and people are like, why would you not? That was again the whole point of the characters.
Exactly.
Yeah. Apparently, Hotshot and Starscream, the new ones, they come with the minicon ports that the vintage guys had. So if you have any minicons, you can attach them to them. If you still have old ones from 2002, so
Okay.
there's that. But like the fact that they don't come with the new ones. Why
and
is this a picture of my Cyclonus? That is from my review.
Is it?
I am 90% sure because that's back when I needed to take pictures behind me over there. And yeah, no, that is a photo. Where did that come from? That's my
Wow.
picture. I took that picture.
Ooh. Well,
Because
we're seeing this live on a on a live stream. Like,
wow, they're stealing
bro,
information.
I'm,
Stealing
I'm, I'm,
information. 911.
I'm gonna go find this. Hold on a minute. Hold up.
911. How can I help you? Somebody stealing pictures.
wow.
Like click on through to the website. I want to see if it's there. If like our news scraper just like had a boo boo. I'm gonna look it up right now. Yeah, that's from my Cyclonus review. My review
Gee.
of Cyclonus.
Let
And
me,
why is it in an article about a Transformers MMO?
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Somebody got to get paid.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless
I will
unless the
say,
website made a mistake on that.
yeah, like it's just really funny because I'm like, wait, I know that nondescript white background.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
Well,
where
we'll look into that in a moment.
yeah, I'm just I'm just going through my archive on childrenofprimus.com/news and reviews.
So there's rumors that a Transformers video game is coming out.
Yeah, MMO. There was an MMO, just didn't. It just got canceled before it could leave open beta because it didn't do well enough. It was
Well,
called Transformers Universe.
let's see what
Wow.
the actual news is on that. We'll ignore the image for the moment.
Yeah,
Let's see if I can go
I
back
can't
to
see
it.
anyway because I'm going through my reviews.
Okay. Let's see. So, as reported by Game Rant, rumors are in the air about Transformers Rise, the reported title of an upcoming console-based Transformers MMO. And
See?
supposed leaks are coming from content creator who claims to have knowledge about the game, which has supposedly gone through at least 2 developers since development began in 2011.
Ooh. Oh, boy.
Okay, then further down in an update, RoboGamer1 HD claims that these leaks are 100% confirmed. The current developer handling the console MMO is Certain Infinity, an indie developer started by ex-Bungie employees in 2006.
Oh, snaps.
I
So,
mean,
You
this is
said Bungie?
yes, ex-Bungie employee.
Dude, that's going to be good.
was it in my other one?
Yeah, how's it going? Israel from YouTube says El Legendaro Power Ranger.
Mm-hmm. That I agree. Now where is this? Oh, okay. Is that it? No, that's not it. What? What is going on?
Okay, so actually, for a moment, so I am in the back end of the website looking to see if maybe it just it pulled the wrong image for that.
Uh-oh. Google don't want to work. Oh boy, you got to threaten it a couple times.
Yeah, this is very strange because I don't see that specific photo here, but that can't be like.
I seen something on it. I seen like a face of a transformer. And I was like, no, that can't be true. And I just skipped over it. I was like, well, I see it to believe it. They have a trailer for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, this is one of speaking of the actual article. This is one of those rumors that I'll believe once I actually see some like footage. It may be that I didn't use that photo, but if so, how did that get there? Um, because I'm gonna be like, let me share a couple of things here. Yeah, right here. So this is my Kingdom Cyclonus review, and
Okay.
you can see exact same backdrop.
Ooh.
It's me taking photos, but that specific photo is not there. But I feel like I took it because I would absolutely pair him with Tailgate because they were a thing in the comics, and I took a robot mode photo of them together.
Well, I mean,
And
it's possible maybe the website just somehow
just
took that image for the article. I guess for the fact that they don't have an image for the
yeah,
article.
and this is from my Tailgate review, and that's the wrong Cyclonus, even though I took the same kind of picture.
Wow.
That's
That's the old.
crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So like, I
Hmm.
don't use every photo that I take. I take a bunch of them. I upload them,
Hmm.
and then when I publish it, I just go through and add whatever I think fits and add the captions like as the last step. And sometimes some of them don't make the cut. So I think that's a photo I probably took and then just didn't wind up posting it when I actually did the Kingdom Cyclonist review.
Okay. I mean, for a moment there, I thought we had a a live action. Have to find whoever did this and take them down.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I'm still just like, what the heck is that photo doing there?
Yeah.
uh, Gebri Star says it's the worst day ever. There's been a lot of bad days in the world, but I mean, suppose it could be the worst day if you're. Uh, I mean, two bad things happened.
Hmm. Which a lot of people also pointed out the passing of one of the, I believe, the voice actors for Batman.
Oh,
Hmm.
Kevin Conroy. Yeah, that was a few days back.
Yeah.
Last week, this week, a few days ago. Yeah, well, that's another one, right? Like that. Once again, that was all. It was a little bit before Power Rangers. I was a little bit younger, but again, I grew up watching that show.
You have the
Oh,
90s
okay.
Batman?
Yeah, and the fact that he was like the Peter Cullen of Batman and voiced him in basically everything afterwards means that you definitely heard this guy being him.
Right, right.
Like, like every DC animated movie they put out, it was always him. He played him
Yep.
in all the Arkham games.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
What?
yeah, Kevin
Okay.
Conroy. If you ever played Arkham Asylum or any of its sequels, Kevin Conroy
Yeah.
voiced him in that. Yeah. So he just he was the guy. He was the Peter Cullen of Batman. Like I said.
Got it. Yeah, because I watched the some of that series back in the day. So yeah, now I understand the
Yeah.
the significance.
Yeah, the animated series, Justice League, Batman Beyond. Uh, Not every cartoon, but like a lot of the times, if you're watching a Batman cartoon, '90s and on, it was probably him.
Well, did he play the older Bruce in Batman Beyond?
Yeah, it was still him.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay. Like I think Batman Beyond is still a slept on
Yep.
series. Like
It
that
was
was
yeah,
an
way
amazing
it's way
series.
before its time.
yeah.
Hmm.
I
Oh yeah.
watched. I liked that one too. That was all. like I said, it was a little later. I also watched it when I was a kid. Yeah,
No, I wish they can give us a movie on that.
yeah, it's a great idea for one.
Oh, I mean, a lot of people have been hoping for that and hoping that what's his name, Michael Keaton,
Yeah,
Hmm.
is plays the older Bruce Wayne.
yeah, that'd be a great idea as a casting choice. I mean, if that Flash movie that they keep saying is going to happen ever actually comes out, that's supposed to be like Michael Keaton's supposed to be in that.
Oh
Right.
wow.
Yeah, because they showed previews and clips of that, like, multiple times, like months
Yeah.
ago.
First of all, it kept getting delayed because they kept rewriting it and reshooting it, which is never great.
Ah,
And
okay.
and then it kept getting delayed because Ezra Miller, who plays the
Yeah.
Flash, just decided to just like be the worst person possible.
Yep.
Right.
Like,
Douchebag.
yeah, and just like I don't even follow it anymore. I just know they did all kinds of like heinous stuff. So I think they're kind of just like, what do we do with this movie that we already filmed and was ready to go, and
Got it.
stars this person that is persona non grata?
Only thing they got to do is just put me in the movie, and I can be the reverse Flash and kick his butt, and that's it.
I don't watch the Flash show, but it's the TV show, but it's pretty well regarded. So people were like, how much money would it cost them to get the guy who plays the Flash on the TV show to just refilm the whole movie?
Right.
Just green screen him in because people like that guy. As far as I know, he hasn't done anything bad, and he seems to be a good Flash that people like.
Or what they could do is do both of them
Yeah,
in two different universes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Right.
depending on how much more money they want to spend on that movie. Because
Man,
Warner
you
Brothers got
believe
bought
that?
out, and a bunch of stuff got canceled, and it's a whole mess over there. So nobody really knows what's going on.
Well,
DC
they
needs
got
help.
bought by Disney. They got bought by Discovery or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the big story was they had a Batgirl movie ready to go. Michael Keaton was apparently also in it, and they just decided not to release it because in the middle of this mess. Yeah, yeah. It
Wow.
got used as a tax write-off. Everybody was big mad about it. Everybody involved was like, "What is this? Why are you not releasing this movie that's already done? Even if you don't want
Wow.
to promote it, just drop it on streaming or something."
Right.
Yeah, that was a big mess. Who
What
is
was
at the
it?
bottom? The comment from Heathen Dragon is cutting him off, so I can't see who joined us.
Well, let's jump into the comment just before. So Heathen Dragon 43 from YouTube says, "Is it true about Jason David Frank not being dead?" And
Yeah.
unfortunately, yes, that is the news.
hmm Uh, Other details are scarce. There's a lot of rumors, but he has passed away. And
Yeah, it's sad.
yeah, as I said at the top of this stream, if you're just joining us, I was the exact right age to grow up with Power Rangers. So was my fiance Jess. We've both like we've had she had some pretty positive experiences interacting with him at conventions and things, and it's sad for both of us because it's a childhood face from the stuff that we lived in basically. Yeah,
Well, hey everybody. Well, I guess I jumped on at the right time.
yeah.
Oh, yes, you did, and you're
Right.
late.
Yeah, I know. I apologize. Was at the rank, obviously, as you can tell by my name, Dead Hockeytron there.
A
Um,
Canadian pastime.
yeah. Yeah. When I heard about Frank, I actually heard about this about last night.
Yeah.
About him passing away, which kind of sucked. Because he's like the true embodiment of Power Rangers. Let's be honest, right?
Yep.
And I actually like the fact that he did. I don't know if you guys mentioned this or not, but I like the fact that what he did was his character, and even on some of the YouTube series that he did. On the flip side, when he took that, the other universe Frank,
Yeah, I
Yep.
talked
eh,
about that. Lord
right?
Dracon.
Exactly, right. Which I thought that was pretty cool when they did that for. I think they did that for us adults fans,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I think they
Yeah,
did some really good justice to it.
yeah. The thing that I said about him was out of everybody involved, he's the guy that kept coming back and doing stuff. He'd do official things like that. He did like fan productions, they like a few like of those death battle versus things.
Yep.
That they did live action ones, and he came back to be in those. So just a very active member of like the cast, and like a very very active, outgoing, positive member of like the fan community. And like I said, I saw him at Fan Expo some years ago. So did Jess. Bundle of energy and enthusiasm. So.
Well, I compare him. I compare him to. I don't know if you guys are wrestling fans, but I compared him like he's like the Undertaker of the Power Rangers. And what do I mean by that?
Nice.
The Undertaker literally lived and breathed his character. You would never see him out of character, even when the matches or the event was over and you see him leaving. He will never leave with the other guys, right? And throughout the whole entire time that he was the Undertaker, he played that character to a perfection. Now that he's no longer the Undertaker, he's retired. Now we get to see Mark Calloway now, right? And so, that's what I think of Frank. I think Frank did his character to the T. Listen, I watch Power Rangers here and there kind of thing when it first kind of came out because it kind of reminds me of, Voltron, right? But at the same time, too, I was dissing it because of Voltron. Right? So, but at the end of the day, it was a good show for the kids and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's some interesting storylines.
Yeah, the funny thing that we sort of double checked while this was happening is Power Rangers is adapted from a Japanese franchise, Super Sentai, and that actually predates Voltron. So
that doesn't count. It didn't happen in America. It didn't happen at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna say didn't happen over here, but like
right.
I watched because I watched the original series of the Mighty Morphin, but in Sentai form, dude, it is so much better.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. It's officially released now. Like Shout Factory put out a DVD set of the specific Super Sentai that they turned into Power Rangers.
The funny thing is, sorry, let me just put this in here and tell me if I'm correct, right? By saying this or wrong. Some of the fight scenes that they did in the American shows were actually edited or cut from the original show.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. So what they would do is initially the helmet head stuff would be from the Japanese show, and they dub it over because you can't see anybody's faces anyway. Same with the giant robot stuff. I'm gonna sneeze in a minute. All right.
Okay. Bless you.
And all the out of suit stuff would be the American actors. But the American production had the suits and the props and everything, so they could film their own stuff too. And as the show went on, they relied more and more on that. And one of the things about Jason David Frank is he famously did.
Bless you. Awesome.
Oh snaps! You got three. He got a three sneeze combo going on.
Hat trick. A Canadian hat trick.
Yeah. Yeah, when it came time to film the American stuff, Jason David Frank did his own stunts. And like in the '90s movie in particular, he did all his own stunts, so that was a thing.
Well, you know what? He actually backed up his word because that guy literally entered the ring.
Yeah.
Not rink. Sorry, ring. Not ring. I said a rink. Sorry, I just came back from hockey. So the guy threw them down too in real life.
Yep. So Heathen from YouTube mentions that I've been a fan of Power Rangers since the Power Rangers 1993, and also says I'm still a big fan today.
Yeah. 93. I would have been 5 years old, so exact target demographic.
No, 93 was a bad year for me.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I was mostly. What happened in '93?
The Leaf lost to Wayne Gretzky and the LA Kings, and they were supposed to go to the finals that year.
Hockey.
Exactly. Okay.
But hasn't the Leafs lost?
I don't want to hear it, Mike.
Okay.
Okay, you're saying, what happened in '93? The Leafs lost. And I was like, yeah.
That was the year that Toronto was supposed to play against Montreal, and we'll leave it at that. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But going back to he's in Dragon there.
Yeah.
I will say Power Rangers for me. It's like one of those little guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
You know, you when you catch it on TV, you know you're gonna sit there for a couple of minutes and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then after that, when your kids or somebody else comes into the room, you start changing channels.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I was like, if you want a dose of it, the '90s movie is a good one-off thing. It's a little bit later. It's set between the second and third seasons, like the Transformers movie. So he's the White Ranger now, and a few of the other cast have rotated. But it's a good one-off thing if you want like a guilty pleasure bit of fun.
Actually, you know what? The reboot or that remake movie wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I like that one too. Honestly, I wish it had continued because it was very much part one of a story, and they didn't get to tell any other parts. But I liked what was there.
So Lego. Oh, sorry. So go ahead.
Yeah, Tommy Oliver, the character, was supposed to be in the sequel because it ends with them mentioning him. So that was the big tragedy. Because hey, adapting the story, right? Of course, the first movie would be about the original five, and then the second movie would have, if it happened, would have been about the Green Ranger coming in and cleaning up shop, like I said he did back in the '90s. That's what you make your sequel out of.
Yep.
Yeah. And Lego Show TV on YouTube says my cousin got me into it. I watched him in Dino Thunder in about 2005. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. That's when he came back for a full season as the mentor character, who then eventually became a ranger again and a part of the team. Because he was always coming back. It's only on Netflix now, says Lego Show TV. Is it? I don't know where to watch it now.
I was watching on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it might be legitimately on YouTube because like Hasbro owns it now, and
What?
Hasbro owns Power Rangers. They make Lightning Collection and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Beast Morphers and the current show were both Intergalactic.
Yeah.
Were both produced by Hasbro. I think they might just be legitimately uploading episodes like they do with Transformers G1. Orlati, welcome again.
Yeah.
Well, I just hope they give us Earthspark on YouTube because I watched the first episode on there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a drag. They need to just drop it on YouTube.
Hold on.
Foreboding orchestral music.
So hold on. I got oh yeah, Beastie Boys.
We're just not playing the music so YouTube doesn't copyright strike the hell out of us.
Yeah, it was just playing just a little bits of clips at a time. But again, the influences of Japan series and ideas that led to many years of down to the roads to the years of Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's my only beef with the '90s movie. So the show, they did the that Godzilla stuff. They got people in the suits to be the robots. Movie decided they were going to try and do CGI, and it was really bad early '90s CGI. And I was like, should have just done the suits like on the show. It might have probably looked better.
You know what the graphic reminded me of when they were doing those Zords and that CGI? It kind of reminded me of remember Captain Power?
Yeah,
wow,
that's what it was. It was literally Captain Power level CGI.
I was gonna get my little Captain Power thing that you used to shoot at the TV to score points.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my friends had one of them. Like he
one.
had Captain Power and he was the one who had Metroplex. Like I remember. Yeah. I think he's probably about the same age as you at the time.
I had the black one, the bad guy, the wannabe half Darth Vader guy, right?
Yep.
So I had I was shooting at the TVs. Actually, I was gonna take that out, see if it worked.
Nice.
All right.
Oh yeah, Lego Show TV's mentioning. I talked about this before. His last appearance is in the Ninja Steel 25th anniversary special. Yeah, that's when, like I said, he had to fight a robot duplicate of himself, and he had a special thing that let him hot swap all of his different Ranger forms. It was like pure fan service, but like it was like really good. Yeah, they never said where he got it because they know we don't care. He just like I have
He
this thing
got it
called
from
a
me.
master morpher. Yeah, he got it
I
from you.
made one. I could make one once 6,000 years.
They're like, we know you don't care. We're just gonna. He has this now as an excuse to make this cool action sequence happen where he keeps changing ranger forms.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you where you got that idea with that whole morphin power thing from two
Yup.
legendary
Mega
characters. You
Force.
ready? No, not just only Mega Force. Spin would know this. Hercules.
Ooh, let me see if I can find that. Let me see
Remember how
if
he
I
reached
can
down
find
into
that.
his belt and then he took in that ring and he goes Hercules, right?
Yeah,
You get
that
like
was like those were those cartoons in like the mid late 70s that would come
yeah.
on at like 6:30 in the morning before, your parents take you to school.
Yep.
And then you had G-Force or the Battle of the Planets. G-Force.
Well, actually, while I'm looking for Hercules, there was one thing I was showing earlier. So I want to see if you remember this.
Okay. Force 5. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
There it is.
he was
G-Force.
showing me this. I was just marveling at how 80s it was.
So
I mean,
the funny
70s.
with but the funny with this particular cartoon, there was like it was either called Battle of the Planets, G-Force, or Force 5.
Probably because it got multiple English dubs from the anime.
Yeah.
That
Well,
tended to happen.
I mean, there were different variations, and the thing is, back then, just like how we now realize there were like dozens and dozens of different transforming type toys. It was the same thing with the series, because Force 5 is a whole different cartoon. Star Avengers were a different cartoon. Battle of the Planets, like so. I mean, all similar type of animation, but they were all different. Almost different universes in the same, in a sense, almost like Marvel. Like you've got like X-Men, Spider-Man, like all different
Yep.
characters in the same universe, but all these different storylines that they somehow never meet, come across each other.
I would have loved like maybe like a fan film
Yeah.
where you got all these combiners, if you know what I mean, right? All these humanoid combiners just like ended up in the same universe, like Voltron, Power Rangers,
Oh, that would be crazy.
Force 5, right?
Yep.
Getting all together and they're like, hey, who are you? Who are you? Wait a minute, why are we here? And then, you had like this greater evil, right? And then the story goes.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Which one is this?
It was Hercules, man.
Actually, just
Hercules.
before Adam Young on YouTube says Power Rangers was a cool TV show to watch.
It was. It was the thing when I was a certain age. And the interesting thing about Power Rangers is because it's a cheap show to make, because large chunks of it are already made in Japan, it never really stopped airing. Like, it's been airing constantly since the 90s, basically. It's like during the lean years, they just lean more on the Japanese footage instead of their own stuff, And when it's popular again, they have the budget to film more of their own things. But, it just keeps being around.
This is the original He-Man here.
Yeah. I know that was on TV. Like, it still aired.
Oh, he didn't reach for his ring. He didn't reach for his ring. So every time he put his ring on, that's where he got his powers. That's where he morphed into the mighty Hercules.
Yeah.
Actually, let me see if they have a clip of that.
Also, we might get copyright striked, but I in the stream in the chat there, I dropped the thing that was mentioned earlier, which is this is the last thing he was in at this point, basically. The 25th anniversary episode where he fought his like evil duplicate.
Okay.
And he goes through like all of his ranger forms. Yeah, and I mentioned that too. I don't know what the status of that is. I'm talking about Lego Show TV's comment. He had a fan movie he was making called Legend of the White Dragon. I don't know what state that movie was in, like if it was done or if they were still making it. I really wonder if that's still gonna have the ability to come out now, at very least like in his memory,
It was funny because what was it the other day? before his announcement of his death, there was it just popped up on my YouTube feed, right? The history of what's called of Tommy here, right?
Yeah.
And they just showed a whole history, you know, from the beginning right to the end, and basically saying
Yeah.
like he's like the best Power Ranger of all time, and here's the reason why. Did you
Nice.
watch that one?
No, but like I know about him because like I was in
Yeah.
this as a kid, and I still sort of loosely pay attention to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
he kept coming back because he was popular with the audiences. Like he was supposed to be written out like after the Green
Right.
Ranger powers went away,
Yeah.
but he was so popular they brought him back, and he became the White Ranger, and then he just kept coming back and showing up. So he's probably the one character on the show with the most story because he just kept coming back and having new stuff happen.
But it's funny because you figure, what's his name, Jason St. Clair.
Yeah.
Did I say correctly? The Red Ranger, the original Red
Austin
Ranger.
St. John.
Austin St. John. Okay, there you go. It was funny because you figure that he was supposed to be like the main guy that everybody loved, right?
Yeah. I got his flip changer here too.
And then Woody and this Tommy character comes out of nowhere and basically just takes over.
Yeah, he became the leader of the Rangers instead of this guy because he was so popular.
Well, that happened in the movie, right?
Guys.
That's what happened in the movie.
No. No, in the '90s movie, Jason was already gone. Like he'd passed the Red Ranger mantle on to a different character called Rocky.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I thought it was in the movie when he became the White Ranger with Siba, or
no, it happened in the second
the Lion
season of the
King
show.
there, you know.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What do you want me to say, man? He became the.
Yeah,
oh no, you're on mute, Mike.
Yeah,
sorry. Holding up the Red Ranger like Masimba.
Yeah, the White Ranger had a talking sword called Saba.
Saba, there you see how that's what I'm talking about. You know,
he sounded like Zazu from the Lion King because he had a British accent and was uppity.
Speaking of the White Ranger, look.
Yeah.
Wow, catch up on some of the comments.
Let me put my hair in a ponytail. Hold on.
There we go. Yeah, now you're in Power Ranger form.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. There you go. See?
So Griff from YouTube says, I thought he did that in Dino Thunder, and
both
also
are true.
says fighting his other Ranger forms.
That also happened in that show. There was a famous episode where, like before, like he went into the character went into a coma, and while he was in his mind, he ran into all of his previous Ranger forms and had to fight them. So he was like, it was just an excuse for Jason David Frank, without a suit or anything, to just fight the Rangers. Like,
from his past.
He fought the Red Zeo Ranger, and then he fought the White Ranger, and then he fought the Green Ranger at the end. And he was like, I'm all your bad memories about when you were evil and fought everyone. And he's like, I'm going to punch these bad memories in the face. Not literally, but,
So, Anthony, talking about memories here.
Yeah.
Can you help me out here because I totally forgot?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I saw that video the other day. So, Tommy, was he like a kid that Rita, what was her name? Rita Raposo, whatever her name was.
Yeah.
Did she literally created him, or was he like some kid that she just found and just kind of corrupted him?
Yeah. He was a normal guy. He was like a new transfer student to the school.
Okay.
And because I saw it's called Green with Evil, and it's like it's a 5-parter, and it was the whole thing I keep alluding to where he showed up. So he's a transfer student, and he happens to already be really good at karate, because one of the other things is like the actual Rangers, they didn't like actually know karate, they just kind of picked it up. And he's like legitimately good at it. So she's like, I have this power coin lying around. I'm going to kidnap him, cast a spell on him to brainwash him, and turn him into my Green Ranger. So yeah, he was evil against his will. And then the conclusion of that 5-parter is them breaking the conditioning on him.
So Lego Show on YouTube says, I posted a meme saying JDF for president. And it also says days before today.
Yeah.
And then Oz, also from YouTube, says he became the leader because Austin left the show.
Yeah.
When Griff also replied from YouTube. Rita corrupted him.
Yeah, I'm talking about the spell they cast on him.
Yeah.
And then Zarb from YouTube also says JDF was the star of Power Rangers, hands down. Even when he wasn't on the show, his legacy loomed over it. He will always be a part of the show in spirit.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
You know what? We're a Transformer show, and look how popular he was. And here we are today, dedicating the whole show to the Power Rangers, right? So
I
says a lot right there.
Like I said, it was everywhere when I was that age. I was a Transformers guy more so, but like I was into this stuff too.
Yeah, like hearing the news, of his passing. Hey, what's up, Mr. Professor D? And it's hearing the news of his passing, and then hoping that Anthony was within that age. In my later teens, working with children, I remember the younger children, coming to school in the daycares, and like all of them like were pretending to be Power Rangers to the point like
beating
like
each other
daycares
up.
and teachers like they're just like telling the children's, don't bring Power Rangers figures to school, don't come to school pretending to be Power Rangers. Like every single kid was a ninja, like just being a Power Ranger.
So they were saying, go Power Recess, go Power Stack, go Power. I don't know.
You guys,
I don't know.
I don't know if I'm in some kind of a time warp, but I could swear that like I turned on this broadcast about 2 hours ago, and I could swear Spin was saying the exact same thing.
Remember, we're in the multiverse now, so it's possible.
It's like, did I watch like another version of the podcast when I wasn't on it, but Spin was saying the same thing? And now here's the version where I'm on it, and he's saying it. And also, Michael Orlati, welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Gang's all here.
Yeah.
so it's a lot to it's a lot to discuss, right? Because of Power Rangers and his character left a big outsized cultural impact, so we can talk about it for a couple hours.
Yeah, but you don't have to say the same thing for a couple hours.
Well, the reason why we're saying the same thing again was to draw you back out. That's why.
Yep, we're like, oh, they're repeating themselves. I have to come in and break the loop.
D coming out of his well to shame mankind.
Look, even D's wearing his white shirt, and he's gonna put his hair, and he's putting his hair in a ponytail as well too. See,
team white tea here.
See, you guys didn't realize like Power Rangers influenced you guys when you didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Yes, we're wearing our white tees in homage of the White Power Ranger.
I'm wearing my black tee.
White Power.
Black Power Ranger.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We are homaging the White Power Ranger. We endorse Black Power.
I got the power. Oh snap!
Believe me, people have been making these jokes for like 20 years now. You are not the first, and you will not be the last.
So are you trying to say? Are you trying to say we need the Asian guy?
Jokes, right. So the black. So I was listening. So of course I'm too old to have watched Power Rangers. You guys already went through all that.
Wait a second. You're too old.
What?
You're too old to have watched it. I'm older.
Yeah. Well, you also didn't watch the show.
Occasionally, we just don't. Many don't admit to it. Or one of the comments earlier said, they detested the show, but they have respect for Jason embracing the character for many decades.
It's called guilty pleasures.
Yeah. I was saying, I watched it because I was the exact right age. It started in 1993, and I was 5. I had no chance to not,
So I was saying, speaking of those jokes, you guys had an image of the Power Rangers up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You made reference to the Black Power Ranger, who's also the black guy.
Wait, hold on. Are you trying to say we're missing an Asian guy on the show?
You're not, because the Yellow Ranger
just
the
happens
Asian
to
chick.
be.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, was that no? But was that like okay? The yellow man, like how come? But the red guy, like, is he supposed to be native? Is he like an Indian dude?
No,
Well, his name is Austin, so he's probably like from Austin.
Well, let's catch up on the comments for a
I
second.
don't know, whatever.
They should have made him like Inca or something.
Yeah.
All
Now
right.
I will note this has been discussed. The people that made the show have claimed they did not realize this at the time.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're meant to take that seriously.
It's random that they made the Asian girl yellow.
Yeah, it's worth noting. Like I said, when
Like, there's no way. Like, hold on, Anthony. There's no way that they deny that the black Power Ranger being the black guy, like, that was intentional.
And then the
I
girl
don't
was
quote me
wearing
on it.
pink,
I believe it
and
has
the
been
boy
discussed
wearing
that it was
blue.
not intentional. I don't quote me on it. I want to look some stuff up before I say that, but I've remembered reading that.
They could have plausible deniability on the Asian girl, but they just totally be like, it'd be an obvious, blatant lie if they said it about the black guy as well.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I would need to look this up. I don't want to make that comment.
Wow.
It is worth noting that when they
how come? What was her name again? Kim?
which one are you talking about?
The Asian one.
Trini.
The character's name's Trini.
Okay, Trini. How come she wasn't wearing a skirt like the Pink Ranger?
Because
that's
the
a
original
known thing.
character is a guy.
Yeah, in the original
okay.
Super Sentai show that it's adapted from, the Yellow Ranger was male. So when they adapted it here, they gender flipped the character, so that's why her suit doesn't have a skirt, because the original didn't either.
Now
They sort of played it off.
It was like a
Are the
transition.
actors all Japanese?
Yes.
Yeah, in the original series it was adapted from.
And,
Yeah,
and do they have women in the original one?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was just the Pink Ranger was a woman. They just decided to also do that to the Yellow Ranger too. The character in the American show was a tomboy, so that's sort of how they played the suit not having a skirt.
Jumping into comments, Lego Show TV on YouTube says, "Wonder how they will explain it in the show Wonder." And Oz also said Austin St. John is still more popular. And Izzy says hello.
Hello, Izzy.
Come on.
I don't know. I think the Pink Ranger is more popular than the Red Ranger.
Yeah. Like she's been on like legit TV and she does directing and stuff, so she probably had like the most. The other one to have gone farthest. Yeah. She was on a show called Flashpoint for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a Canadian show too.
Yeah. But yeah.
Go Canada.
When the first set of Rangers, because Austin St. John and the Black and Yellow Rangers, the actors all left the show, so the superhero mantles were passed on. The second set of characters made sure that, like the second Black Ranger was Johnny Young Bosch, an Asian character, and the Yellow Ranger was a Black woman. So they were definitely like, if they didn't know initially, they were very sure when the second group of characters showed up to not do that.
So are you trying to say they were doing a culture appropriation now?
I'm not. I think that analysis is above my pay grade.
You just can't win, eh?
I heard this comment by Gibri Star, even though Gibri left this a while ago, but I just found it very entertaining because when I initially saw it at the corner of my eye, I thought it said, "This is the worst show ever."
No.
But clearly our show is great. It's just the day that is terrible. So that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll start with our murder prime at the moment.
Shout out to you.
You see, everybody's just got quiet right now. It's like, what do we say after this now?
Wow.
There you go. All right, let's get serious again.
Man,
Well,
it just continues, doesn't it?
Hold on, Mike. At what point today was this serious?
when Jess
which
came in to
aspect
develop
of the
a heartfelt
analysis of
message.
Power Rangers was serious? Aside from the guy dying, I suppose that's
Spawn,
serious.
we gotta let Anthony have his day today because he's mourning. Okay, this was his favorite show.
I mean, I don't know if I call it my favorite, but it was, I watched a lot of it.
To be honest, I think
You
Jen
just
is
killed my whole point
I
here.
think
Thanks,
Jen is the
Anthony.
one who's a little more torn up over the whole thing.
Jess?
Sorry?
Jess, in particular.
Yeah, at the top of the stream,
Also,
she
Jen,
came
I'm
on
sure
to.
Jen is also torn up. You know that your fiance doesn't have a monopoly on the morning over at Jason. Okay,
I know.
There's a lot of young ladies who are big fans of this guy.
She was on here earlier and she said a piece about it. So.
Oh well, I wasn't referring to that at all, but I just that she's torn up over it because.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to be sarcastic, and you're like, totally, this is not working.
I'm choosing to ignore the sarcasm. I'm like, yeah, no, she's legitimately torn up about it.
The struggle is real. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That wasn't acting.
So, okay, now he just got rid of the picture.
Oh, this one?
Okay, yeah, thank you. See, this is one of the reasons why, and not that I'm trying to shit upon Power Rangers, but this is one of the reasons why I didn't like Power Rangers.
Be careful, because Jess could be within earshot.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, listen, I gave Frank his due respect, man. The guy is like the embodiment of the Power Rangers, and he took that character like no other. But this is the reason why that I kind of was upset at Power Rangers is because of this image that we have on our right in front of us. Because I thought it was like not just only a ripoff, but they're like a parody, or they're kind of make fun of it or something like that. When I originally first saw this, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, even though Super Sentai predates it, so technically the source material for Power Rangers came before this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I as an aside, in the 90s, there was a CGI animated version of Voltron. I watched that. It was called Voltron: The Third Dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first exposure
What?
to this. And it was the same thing. It was just CGI animated.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
I can, so I played Star Avengers.
Tim Curry, of all people, voiced Lothar.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if there were any other like celebrity people in there, but that was a really specific thing I remember because they got him to be that guy.
A three-dimensional Voltron?
Yeah, because it was CGI, so it was called Voltron and the Third Dimension.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't play the sound because the big brothers will come after us.
And the beat for beat formula is the kids have a problem. Rita or whoever the bad person is watching them, is like, I'm going to make a monster themed about that problem. Monster shows up. The kids got to go there. They fight the Putty Patrol or whatever the foot soldier is. The monster shows up. They go, it's morphin' time, put their things on. The monster beats them. They run away somehow, and they're like, we got to figure out a way to beat this. Figure out a way to beat it. Go back, fight the monster, beat the monster. Rita, whoever's like, all right, well, you know what I'm going to do? Something I've never done before. Make the monster gigantic. They do that. They call their robot in. Slice it with the big sword. Villain's like, oh, they made me so mad. And then,
this is why you didn't.
All the Japanimation style combiners all coming in together. The two Voltrons, the Green Lion, and I'm not sure which one of the vehicle, but they're brothers. I think they were either brothers or twins. So those two Voltrons, they did exist in one universe.
Yeah. But he just pulled a fast one. But you know what? Even though, and he's back. But going back to what you're saying there, or what I said before, it would have been really nice even to introduce Transformers into that universe with all the other combiners.
There is in Japan.
And that's where you call the Combiner Wars.
In Japan, the Transformers versus Mazinger Z exists. It's a recent thing. It was a one-off manga that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So they have crossed over.
What was it? Transformers versus what?
Mazinger Z. We talked about him earlier. One of the prototypical giant robot shows that invented everything.
Cool.
I'm gonna find a picture.
So with Mazinger Z, were those sentient robots or were those mechs?
I think that was a piloted mech. I don't know much about it. Yeah, there's a Transformers wiki article on it and everything.
Yeah, because it does seem like a lot of the robotic theme cartoons and concepts back then. None of the robots were sentient. It was basically just the drivers, just people driving them like Voltron.
What about anyway? You guys know in Mechagodzilla, the original Mechagodzilla, was he a piloted robot?
Yep.
Yep. By aliens.
I don't know.
By aliens.
By aliens. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, just like Voltron.
Yes. So
Like
here's my
that guy,
question.
like that
Well, hold
guy.
on. So here's the question to you guys, and I guess to our audience. Let's just say there was a big mashup between Power Rangers, the two Voltrons, and Force 5. Let's just say, who do you think will come out of on top?
Power Rangers, the Voltrons, and Force 5. Gosh. Well, which Power Rangers? Because there's been a million of them, and then they usually have more than one mech.
Force 5 Battle of the Planets?
No.
Okay, I say Battle of the Planets wins.
Well, I've seen
Dean's thinking out of the box, eh? No, the original Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to add the Green Ranger Zoid, Zoid, whatever you want to call it.
Zord.
So we'll add them in there because there's two. Yeah, Zord. Thank you. So because since there's two Voltrons, right? So the Power Rangers plus the Green Ranger versus the two Voltrons plus a Force 5. Who do you think will come on top?
I don't know enough about anything that's not Power Rangers here to comment.
Well, I've seen such similar debates before, and the question comes in terms of the size of the characters, because you have to
Let's just say they're all the same size.
They're all the same size.
Everybody's the same size.
I mean, at that point, it's more of who has the better skill and fighting wise. But if they're all the same size, you then have to factor in, are some of them being driven by humans? Do they fall under the headmaster realm of now the humans assisting them, or do you look at the tech specs where it's once a human
God,
shows
Mike,
up?
you're making this difficult. They're all human run.
Well,
okay.
I mean, it's basically it's a battle royal. It's a battle royal. We can't pick one.
Can you put something else on the screen while we're listening to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a battle royal at that point.
I'll put it this way. I'm gonna answer it. I'll say the line Voltron, because what you said earlier, Mike. Once he pull out his sword, he's cutting everybody down in 20 seconds, and the show's done. So I'm going with Voltron.
One thing that might give some insight is there was an Ask Vector Prime question at one point where somebody asked who would win if Optimus Prime fought the Diaclone armored convoy. And the reply was, it depends on if the more powerful armored convoy could take him out right at the beginning. If so, it would win. But in a long, drawn-out battle, Optimus would win because he knows how to take down opponents that are stronger than him, and he, has the intelligence as a sentient person. So it depends on whether that first strike gets rid of him or not. If it doesn't, then in the long fight, Optimus wins. But that's in that battle.
I think the Orlati might be a Voltron sycophant.
Sycophant. I don't know why you guys are not answering my question.
Orlati, question for you. Who wins? Voltron versus Predacon?
Oh gosh, Predacon. I mean, I'm a fan of Voltron.
Hold on.
How is it possible Spick can answer that question quickly?
Because that's only two characters.
I'm asking Orlati.
Wow.
Okay, you know what? That is a good question. But I am gonna have to agree with Spin. I'm gonna have to go with what's called Predacon.
Predacon.
Yep.
Beats Voltron.
Yep.
Okay, well, he's not a Voltron sycophant, but he's also totally inaccurate because we've discussed this on this channel before. I don't know where you guys were, but we pulled up. Somebody like typed up on the screen. We had a whole episode. Somebody told us the actual height of Voltron, which whatever is like 300 feet, and
Right.
Predaking comes up to his ankles.
Yeah.
So there's no way that he's going to win. And plus, he's got a sword, which fine. Predaking has a sword too, but not like that Voltron sword. So there's actually no.
But go with what Mike said in terms of if all of them are the same height.
Right.
But they're not.
Predacon.
They're not.
Well, we know they're not, but if they were,
If Voltron and Predaking were at the same height, then sure, Predaking would annihilate him. Because Predaking's vicious. But it doesn't matter how vicious you are if you only come up to the guy's ankle.
Ankle, yeah. I get that. One stop and you're done.
hey, but you know what?
did you see-
There was an episode of Voltron where they took out the blue lion, and basically the team started losing. Kind of like now you've got a robot missing a leg. So
exactly.
you go after Predaking's ankle. Maybe you might have a chance.
If you go after a human's ankles, you might have a chance too. There's some important arteries there.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Achilles who was a good
Yeah.
fighter.
Remember that guy?
He had that same problem.
Oh, see, I was thinking of Pet Cemetery myself, but
Okay, who wins, Voltron or Godzilla?
Are they the same height?
Beastie Boys.
I'm gonna say Godzilla.
which Godzilla? That's the thing.
Not
Classic
Godzuki.
Godzilla. No, not Gadzuki.
Is the original Godzilla? Is it the remake that came back and it came out in the 90s, or is it the recent
Nope, the
Godzilla?
original.
What was that? 60s, 70s?
I mean, I'm just talking about Godzilla, the character Godzilla, in the same way as we say Optimus Prime, we're talking about Optimus Prime.
Well, that's why he's asking, because I mean, Earthspark Optimus Prime compared to G1 Optimus Prime are not the same.
Oh my god! We're not talking
70s Godzilla, just original Godzilla.
Yeah, original Godzilla.
I think Voltron would win in that case, honestly.
I don't know, man, because that rubber suit took on a good beating.
Yeah, but you know what? That's almost like the argument of like man versus animal. Certain animals, the animal has an instant win. Like we're just defenseless.
But the 70s Godzilla, does he still have that fire breath? Like,
Yes, he does.
but is it just like, what is it? Does it look the way it does in the modern films, where it's like a laser, or is it just like shooting fire?
Yeah,
Shooting
I don't
fire.
remember.
Like it's just like a dragon breathing fire, or is it like burns through buildings?
Ooh, 1974. Let's bring that up.
Well, if you look at the Boom Studios, they actually did Power Ranger versus Godzilla, and Godzilla destroyed the Power Ranger Zords, including the Dragon Zords.
Sure. Oh, there we go. Yeah,
It's Godzilla.
The answer to the question is Godzilla. It destroys Voltron, no question.
Oh, that's that other guy.
Hold on, what is Anthony have here first?
That's King something.
It's Godzilla's finishing move.
Yeah,
What's Voltron's defense against that?
I don't know. He moved out of the way.
I like to think the sheer what am I looking at, like distraction aspect of it.
Talk about Duster, right?
No, and I could see it already. Like Godzilla will knock Voltron down, and then they'll show a close up to like all the drivers, and they'll have like that shocked look on their face.
Imagine how difficult it must have been to do that move wearing that suit.
Yeah. I'm like, as long,
There's a lot of strings. That's all I gotta say. There's a lot of strings being pulled.
Wow.
What was the other?
Yes, it's
well,
Power
it
Rangers.
exists in the same genre.
I know, but still.
Let's go back there for a second. So,
You think a
okay.
shower was going down.
I'm picking two people. So D, you be Godzilla. Anthony, you be the mech character. And
we're doing the voices, or
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? Like this
the
is what we
director was
grew up
like,
to.
just use it, it doesn't matter. Caught on fire.
Yeah. Look how great that is, man. Today's cartoons,
Yeah,
they
y'all
don't
know
get that
about
violence.
that. Yeah,
okay,
for
hold
y'all
on.
time.
What?
They're like a cockroach, monkey-looking thing.
See, told you.
Oh, it's almost like you've seen the film. It actually looked like Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bill's been smoking all day. He said, sorry, turkeys, I've been smoking all day.
Sorry.
He's been smoking turkey, man. Is that a brand?
He said he's had
Well, either version works.
Well, I'm guessing smoking turkeys as in for Thanksgiving next week.
Oh, that's right. Our American friends are going to be having Thanksgiving.
Mm.
Yeah, we had our turkey already. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah. We had it in early in Canada.
No more Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Hey,
That's
blasphemy, man. Shut your mouth. You shouldn't be seeing something like that.
No.
How are you going to get toys after?
Oh, I don't care for toys anymore. I just go on the shelves and I get everything for free.
Well, someone's been on the naughty list.
Bill, we will catch you next week as well.
So, are we going to... What time is it now?
8 of them.
10,
Nice.
22.
8
10,
turkeys. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
How many people is he feeding?
That's a
Or maybe if he
festival.
smoke.
55,000.
Yeah, maybe if he's smoking them, I don't know. Is he preserving them or something?
55,000 people he's serving.
5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever tried
Here we
turkey,
go.
but like deep fried turkey?
I've heard it's great. I've never tried it. It's, you got to put it in the trash can of oil, basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it comes out nice and juicy. Okay, what did Bill?
Okay,
Oh,
man.
what did Bill say?
Hey guys, my battery's gonna die, so I gotta sign off here.
Cool.
Fair enough.
I mean, next week we're gonna do third party though.
All right, good.
All right.
Hold on, we didn't do Earth Spark Rise, whatever that cartoon that came out.
Oh, we
I mean,
did
I
it
talked
last
about it a
week.
little bit.
But Paramount
Yeah,
came
yeah.
after us.
You guys been
Yeah.
Yeah, they did, man. They ain't no cutting y'all show that. They cut it off YouTube.
Mhm.
We didn't even have the sound on, and they were still like, "Nope."
Yep.
No spoilers, suckers.
Where do you watch the show?
Not on YouTube.
It's on Paramount, but you can watch it on YouTube, but you can't share it.
I can send some links. There are sources around to watch the show.
All right, so
Yeah.
people are uploading it and then it's coming down and it's uploading it again.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have a fairly reliable source via Quebec. I'll explain later.
All right.
Okay, hold on.
You
So
just
Bill
put it in our
has.
message board. Put it in our message board.
We got Bill here.
6 families, and I donate 2 of them to Pitino Homeless Shelter in Owensboro. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
It's a good use of your outdoorsmanly skills.
Mm-hmm. Honorable.
Should always give back
Yeah.
to the community.
Much
All right,
like
guys.
so can I make-
see you this evening, and I will see you next week.
yeah.
All right. Have a
Alrighty.
good evening, sir.
Cool.
Oh,
buddy.
yes, indeed.
So I'm gonna make my quick little point.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched 2 episodes, and it's very hard pressed for me to watch a third one.
I'm gonna say I watched all of them.
Anthony is going to tell you that it's worth sticking through to watch to the end because the last 2 or 3 episodes
3.
picks up and it's actually good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you didn't like
Go
the
ahead.
first 2, I don't know what to tell you because he says
Well, Bill says good night,
Frozen.
mates. Yeah, and D is frozen.
I was gonna say first 2
Not
I
that
liked.
frozen, he's pretending he is.
3 to 7, not great. Last 3, 8 to 10, real nice. So yes, I was gonna say that. I don't know. It's too early for me to have an opinion of the whole thing because they're dropping it in these little amounts, but I'm interested in seeing where it's gonna go.
It kind of reminds me of almost like a bit of an animated Transformer with like really, really corny, sarcastic jokes, put it that way.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
really dry humor that they're trying to make it funny, and I'm like,
It's quippy. That's the style.
it's not even whippy, chirpy, or chirpy, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, really?
Well, for a child, it works.
Yeah, it's a kids show.
Yeah, like it really is directed to children. Like it's not us.
Damn.
Is that how the cycle goes? They do like an adult version, then a kiddie version, then an adult version, and then a kiddie version.
It almost seems that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rise of the Beasts will be the next thing that'll be aimed at an older audience, so it does feel like a little bit of a back and forth, right?
I don't know. I just like I don't mind. Like I shouldn't say I don't mind. I understand that they do things for the kids, which they should, right? Because that's you need new customers, new viewers, right? To grow into these Transformers, stories. It'd just be nice if they could just do a really nice adult one for us, original true fans that still, give them money. I'm just saying.
We give them money?
Well, I know Calvin does.
I certainly do.
You see? Right? I already put in my Christmas request with Santa for time. So I don't know. That's just me. So that's just like my little quick review. It's hard for me to give a really good answer because I'm a little tainted. So if people are really, want to get a review from me from Earthsparks, I'm the wrong person.
Yeah.
Well,
I was gonna say I want to see where it's gonna go, but right now it's kind of a mixed bag, just literally highs and lows.
Calvin, what were you gonna say?
I got questions.
You got what? Sorry.
I got questions. So up there in Canada, will y'all guys have Crasher on your shelves?
I have not seen Crasher on my shelves. No.
I've seen it on Walmart online store.
Because we had an issue here because Hasbro posters keep playing games with people. I almost had the shit last week, and that shit would not let me buy it, bro.
Because probably they saw your name. They're like, again, this guy Calvin.
Yeah, the bots, and they're scalping the figures. Yeah, they blocked me from getting the figure, and then when I went back, it was all sold out. Insane.
Look, you brought D back.
Check this out, over a $25 figure.
You know why I'm shaking my head? So that $25 figure is like what, $40, $50?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind getting Crasher.
Yeah, because you are the true GoBots fan.
I am.
Did we get another copyright strike today?
I didn't see an email of it.
I mean, unless they're just belatedly getting around to us from last time.
Wow.
But we did get more subscribers today, so I would say thank you to all the subscribers.
Yes, indeed.
So hold on, why are we getting copy strike for what?
Oh, when we were talking about Earthspark last week, we were playing it in the background without any sound and just chatting about it while it was going, and that was apparently a big no-go. I thought because the sound was off and it was over here, we were fine, but no.
I don't get this, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, we're promoting it, and it's gonna just drive more viewers to go watch it on their channel, so they're still gonna make money off of it.
Yeah, and it was a commentary anyway, so I think it's fair use.
But see,
Yeah.
like I just said, it's only for certain people, and
Uh,
they need to stop that, because I kind of know that like certain people get these Transformer figures and put them on YouTube, and it's crazy how you pick certain people to get these figures, and then if I go get the figure early, and let's say I put it on YouTube, make a video, I will get a strike for that.
I don't
Really?
know. I don't get it. I thought it was like, what, public domain, fair use.
I like
I
it,
paid for it.
right. It's picking and choosing. Basically, that's what they're doing.
Fair use.
Yeah, basically.
I think we're doing fair use.
But where's the fairness then? At the end of the
Yeah,
day,
it doesn't.
Exactly.
It seems arbitrary, but Spin. I don't think we're bright.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at it, and I don't think so either.
Do you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
kind of, but you're like
I think I'm
freezing.
Let's have a back here.
So Spin's looking up in our email, see if we got listed or not. Yeah, you know what? We're a bunch of nobodies. Let's be honest. We're not big time here. We're not. I don't know about you guys, but I don't live in a mansion or anything like that. And all we're just doing is talking about things that we love, right? To talk about, and we're gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the fuck out of here, man! Like, this is called free speech. Don't go on a tangent, man. That's all I gotta say. Don't make me go on a tangent.
It's a transformative work.
81 subscribers on this.
You're breaking up, D.
81 subscribers.
Okay, but you still broke up.
Oh no.
Wow.
He's freezing in transaction over there.
Yeah.
Reporting to us live from a strange white void.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, your internet connection sucks.
Stay away from the white light.
Yeah, it's the overload, the overlord YouTube there is screwed up your connection. We're gonna get a strike for it now.
Yep, they're gonna come out of now.
Fine.
It's funny.
YouTube anyway. So why?
Well, I've sent them an appeal. Basically, they're saying it's a guideline strike, but not an actual strike.
For Earth's part?
Or maybe something else within, but they're not saying specifically what it is. Whereas, like the last one, they said it was specifically Earthspark. Now they're not saying.
Oh, they just picking. Oh, okay. So they just picking and choosing then.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing.
Did somebody say a no word?
What? What's the no word?
I don't know.
Go no. I don't know. I think we need an Elon Musk running YouTube.
They is off the chain.
Everything on fire. Yes.
Anyways, let's get back to serious, because I know we're trashing on YouTube and they can go piss on themselves. But
and that's what's gonna get us actually struck.
That's it.
Oh, it's like that, huh? There.
Yep.
It's
Wow.
blowing the whole channel up.
Ask me if I care, because you know what? There's a good Canadian company out there called Rumble, and they're gaining traction big time now because of this nonsense. And if YouTube wants to cater to all the overlords out there, all the legacy medias, I don't even know what they're called, legacy medias, and they just want to cater towards them, go ahead. Nobody's watching cable anyways. They're dying. It's a dying platform. So, anyways, let's wrap it up because I'm gonna go on a big murder prime here. It was a good show. I think that as soon as I got on, and it's always a good show. Come on, guys. But let's just wrap it up, and because like I said, I'm just gonna go on a tangent, and we definitely get striked. So, guys, it's unfortunate we lost a good one.
Yep.
Hopefully, we will continue to keep his memory going, and also to all my fellow Power Rangers. Okay, our condolence to Frank and his family, and we just want to thank him that he did an amazing job in doing Power Ranger family justice, and so that's all I can say. I don't know if you guys want to say anything.
Yeah, just it's sad to lose a very familiar face from my childhood, and everybody should maybe go watch the '90s movie tonight or tomorrow, or maybe the Green with Evil 5-parter, just in memory to see watch the guy at his best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing but positive things to say about my experiences, and sorry he's gone, and you never know what's going on with people, and don't be afraid to talk about how you feel with the people around you.
Exactly.
You never know what other people are going through, so don't assume nothing.
Well, I'll say this: if you are going through something, regardless, we don't know what the story is, but if you are, please get yourself up there, okay, and take the time and ask for help. There's no shame. Okay, we all ask for help, regardless of whatever it is, and there's people out there that are willing to give that help. That's
Right.
We don't know what happened. Well, it's unfortunate, but we don't know what happened. But we're just saying. That's all.
Yep.
And I don't know about other people, but I always make sure to, for the sake of my own well-being, to take the time to do the things I love. That's why I got all this stuff and why I'm here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I got to say about
man.
that.
Same here. I just, I grew up with it. I was 13 years old when it came out, and I've been collecting like Hasbro, like Power Ranger stuff, like in the collection. And for these past 2 years, I pretty much got everything I wanted to have. So I'm kind of grateful, man. But at the same time, we did lose somebody that was a mentor, that was being positive about things and a good outlook on the situation. If you're going through something, you talk about it. And today's society, we don't talk about our problems. And the suicide rate is so high among men that it's just being ignored. It's not being talked about.
But do we know or we don't know?
I don't want to speculate on anything. I don't think it's totally clear at this point.
Okay. So when we do find out, then we'll make a comment on that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like Calvin said, or even if you ever need help, ask.
Yeah.
What's the worst going to happen? You get help.
Yep.
Spin, anything?
No, I mean, you guys all summed it up the best. I think we're actually still on Facebook and Twitch. So, so for those that are still watching, exactly as Mike and everyone said, anything happening in your life, where you think where you need help, it's always, never be scared to ask for help. Like, like the help is there somewhere. It's just you have to ask for it.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. And so you got anything coming up this week?
It's got to wait a little bit because I had such a busy weekend that my photos aren't done. Studio Series 86RC. The figure that is a crazy retool of the old Thrilling 31.
Right.
Yeah. So got a full write-up of this. Still taking the photos. Let's say Tuesday instead of tomorrow.
All right.
I could post it. I could post it right now, but it would be mostly words with no visuals.
You heard it first here on Children of Primus.
Yeah.
Not Monday, but Tuesday.
This is an interesting one. It's worth waiting for. It's such a weird idea. They took an old 2014 figure, totally changed a bunch of it to try and add articulation, make it more accurate. It transforms completely differently now because of all the new stuff they changed. I'm just going to give it a full breakdown.
Right.
Cool.
I got a bunch of RCs over here, so I like to do a bunch of comparisons.
What about you, Kev? Anything to promote?
Yeah, actually, let us all go out and take money from ATM machines.
Are you not referring to some FTX stuff, are you?
Hey, if everything's a scam, why can't we do it? I'm just saying.
We just want to put a disclaimer. Calvin is just saying.
So I'm just like,
Opinions
everybody.
expressed by our guests are their own.
Well,
So,
I got nothing to really. I got nothing really to say. The only thing I can say, it's not Transformer related, but if anybody's into sports, especially minor hockey or whatever case is, I do have a website called Hockey Needs. I just did an article talking about minor hockey. Is it in trouble? So if you want to check out that, just do that. Go to hockeyneeds.com.
Hockey needs.
Hockey needs. I got your hockey needs. Right. What about you, Spin? Anything before we go?
Check out the website, childreofprimus.com, news and reviews for the upcoming reviews and all different news within the Transformers community. And thank you to everyone that came through tonight. And that's
Thank
it.
you for having me.
So
Awesome.
all are one.
To all
cool.
are one.